Our next speaker is Dr. Ed Bush, President of Cosumnes River College, a champion for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and a member of the DEI Task Force.
Good morning, everyone. I would recommend that before you talk in front of a couple of thousand people, it's probably a good idea to have more than a couple of notes about what it is you're going to say. But I did not follow my own advice this morning because I'm going to make this moment about me and not about you. So I'm going to give myself permission to be as raw, to be as authentic, to be fully myself in a space that I recognize might not understand nor accept me in my full Blackness. Because being Black and being powerful has always and continues to be a threat to this country. George Floyd was killed because of his Blackness, his stature, and his power. It had nothing to do with him, but it had everything to do with the insecurity, hate, and disdain that white officer had for Mr. Floyd's Blackness. As was the case in the last several murders of Black men over the years that have been captured on video, I could not bring myself over the last week to fully watch the death and murder of Mr. Floyd. As it is too dramatic, it's too close to home, it's too painful, and also have yet to fully process how I internalize the repetitive trauma of seeing Black bodies dead in the street. My fear is that I would be desensitized, that it would take a psychological toll on something that should continuously be outrage to me and outrage to us all. But counter to my wife's advice last night, I watched the video and I was unable to sleep for the rest of the night. My stomach was unsettled and it continues to be unsettled because of the internalized pain and trauma. But it was in the middle of the night because often that's the time in which the Spirit would speak to me. I was reminded of something that I think is particularly critical and crucial for this moment. I realized that that was not the only night that I have lost sleep. I have lost sleep when I have looked at the data of our African-American students at my college and in the system and realized that in part that we have been desensitized and looking at the perpetual inequities that exist and that we have allowed to continue. I have lost sleep by being a part and complicit in a system that has been slow to move and slow to act, to create the necessary change, to close gaps, to make sure that all students, particularly Black and brown students, have equitable opportunities to succeed. I have lost sleep working in a system where people have fought to protect the status quo, knowing full well the implications of the status quo has on Black students. I've lost sleep because I've seen the brutality of Black bodies being abused in our classrooms, at our service counters, when they walk on our campus, when they're not affirmed and not accepted, when they don't see their own culture reflected in the curriculum, when they don't see themselves in front of the classroom instructing them, that they don't see a reflection of themselves when they walk across the college. We have and continue to watch and to witness the brutalization of Black bodies on our college why that is. And so during the time at night, I've come to some hypotheses. I've arrived at some conclusions that perhaps we love our job more than we love. Perhaps we love tenure or the thought of tenure more than we love justice. Maybe we love the idea of being promoted more than we love justice. We're at a pivotal crossroads in our society and in the history of the California community college system as we grapple with the complexities of race. But we have a simple choice, and the simple choice is, are you going to perpetuate and support racist behavior and racist structure, or are you going to be anti-racist? Are you going to be pro-Black and pro-Brown? Dr. King says neutrality is at times a graver sin than belligerence. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps perpetuate it. He who accepts evil without protest against it is really cooperating with it. It's time to fight. Let's fight together.